Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. So on the docket for today, we have quite a bit of things to cover. So first of all, we will check in on Chase Pay Yourself Back, which has been in the news a lot because it is now living on through the Aeroplan card, believe it or not. We have American Express opening a new lounge that's not actually in an airport for a change. We will touch on the BILT rewards fiasco. We'll talk about your Clear membership potentially increasing depending on which airline you're flying, and we will close with a new U.S. Bank business card to take a look at and preview if you want to join the waitlist. So of course, if that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, no time to waste. We're batting lead off here, and we are going to be talking about the Clear. So Clear is an interesting one because they've, we know how it works by now, right? But they've actually raised the price of it in the last few weeks to about $189, I believe. But you could always get a discount if you went through Delta, like a Delta Sky Club membership or United Mileage Plus membership. Actually, like really good discounts just for having the free account. Well, those discounts are going to be a thing of the past, and I believe it's starting in February, so take a look at this in your new pricing. So overall, again, the pricing mirrors each other, but Delta, because I like Delta better, if you're Diamond Medallion, so top tier, then it still remains free. However, if you're Silver, Gold, Platinum Medallion, it's going from $109 to $149. If you just have a regular Amex card and you're a SkyMiles account holder, you could have gotten it from $109. Now you're jumping up to $149. And then standard SkyMiles membership price hike from $119 to $179. And $119 is what I signed up for back when I got it, in combination, of course, with the Amex Clear credit when I have the Platinum card. Now, overall, this is kind of unfortunate because, again, these were significant discounts against these accounts to get. These membership accounts were free. Now, it's still, slightly beneficial. You can save a few dollars, by getting one. In fact, Delta was actually running a promotion where if you just open up a new SkyMiles account as a new customer, they're giving you 1,000 free SkyMiles to get you started, which could come in handy because if you don't have Clear and you've been on the fence, you should jump on it now, open a new SkyMiles account, lock in that lower rate plus the 1,000 SkyMiles, and then you can also use internet or Wi-Fi on most Delta flights starting in February as well. Overall, this is probably just another cost-cutting move. I imagine Delta and United were kind of covering the cost of this overall to attract members. You can see they're still leaving something on the table for their members with status. Everyone else without status, you can basically save $10, which, I mean, yes, it's still worth it, but it used to be a much better discount. So, one airline who's looking to get on your good side, though, if you're not flying Delta or United, is Aeroplan. Now, Aeroplan, in Canada, the Aeroplan cards are with American Express, but here, Aeroplan card is with Chase. Now, we have also been talking about Pay Yourself Back, many, many times in the past month or so. Well, Pay Yourself Back's basically been removed from the Sapphire Preferred. I mean, it exists, but there's no benefit to doing it anymore, and the Sapphire Reserve has been nerfed down to 1.25 on its categories. Well, weirdly enough, the Aeroplan card now has Pay Yourself Back as a feature. So let's take a look at this because this does get interesting. So here we have it. Now, you're going to get a 1.25x valuation towards travel purchases. Anything travel related, and Chase does have a wide range of what counts for travel, from 90 days from the date of purchase. Now, it is interesting here, you could look at this two ways. Danny the Deal Guru had reached out and reported that, for either Chase or Aeroplan had talked to him and said, hey, it's only really intended to be redeeming the points that you've earned on the Aeroplan card. However, I've seen reports of folks saying, well, why couldn't I take my, Aeroplan points I earned if I have like the Canadian versions of those cards or just regular Aeroplan miles and redeem them all? So I don't think there's a stopgap in place at this moment. It's unclear if they will add one or not, limiting you to where the points come from. And as far as redemptions go, there is no redemption limit in 2023, and then in 2024 there will be a 50,000 point redemption limit. So this, is nothing else, tells you they're at least planning for it to be around for about 2 years, all of 23 and all of 24. Now, overall, I'd first seen this in an Ask Sebi video, and I agree with his assessment of it. It's likely that Aeroplan was like, we've issued way too many points, when we had those massive sign-up bonuses when the cards came out, and we want to, offload some of that and not have to go through regular redemptions. If you check TPG, I think they have about Aeroplan points around 1.5, 1.7 cents, depending on the type of redemption, how much work you put into it. So if you weren't going to put in a lot of work in your redemption, then at 1.25 is probably fine. And it does get interesting if you can't pull over all your Aeroplan points over to use them. So it is also interesting to note or to see if this, this feature gets added to other travel cards in Chase's lineup, or just I guess technically you could add it to any card really if they wanted to. So I keep my eye on that and see how they adapt the pay yourself back feature going forward. Now, with that, if you're traveling, you've already traveled and you happen to land in New York, well, then American Express has you covered with a new hangout spot that is potentially exclusive or potentially open to everyone. I can't exactly figure out which one. So American Express in New York, again, they're opening a lounge, but it's not like an airport lounge. This is outside of a lounge. This is actually in Vanderbilt building on the 55th floor in, I think it's Midtown Manhattan. They're calling it Centurion, New York. Now, overall, this is I think you could think of airport lounge type deal meets cool swanky bar, if you will. They're going to have a Michelin star chef doing food. They're going to have an actual bar, and then they call it a salon, which I think is more like a big lounge where you could kind of hang out at type deal. Now, interestingly enough, obviously it's called Centurion, so this is targeted at black card holders, but when this came out originally, we thought that, hey, it's going to be limited to Centurion card holders, and then maybe Platinums could book something too, but there was always going to be certain things reserved for Centurion, they get private room, they can book private rooms and certain events and things like that. But TBG came out and reported that it's actually going to be open booking part of it, at least the dinner part, open to everyone, whether you have an Amex card or not, through Resi. So you could go in and you could book a reservation if you wanted. Now, this thing opens up in March, so, who's to say, really? I gotta imagine, they're gonna put a massive priority, as well they should, a priority on Centurion cards and then Platinum cards. And after that, if you're showing up with a Capital One Saver card, I don't know how that's gonna go for you. It will be interesting to see, though. Now, I wish they'd have a press day or something where they'd have people go and take a tour of it, because they didn't really release any photos, just what we found on Reddit and a few other posts that people have come across from TPG articles. So we don't know a whole lot about it, but overall, it seems like a cool enough idea, and it kind of plays into with some of the New Year's predictions we had last week, where eventually these cards are going to have to move beyond the airport lounge and try to incorporate themselves into everyday life. So having a special spot that, I think makes a lot of sense. I think they could expand this to the major cities, so New York, your LA's, maybe Vegas, Chicago, Miami, places like that. Don't think I'll be getting one here in the cold Midwest anytime soon. So if you're going to check it out or you're going to try to book through Resi, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Now we're going to move to BILT Rewards. So BILT Rewards is a card we've talked about here before many times. I'm actually pretty high on the card itself. It's the card that allows you to pay rent with a credit card and get 1% back. Well, recently they moved from Evolve Bank to being issued by Wells Fargo, and I know it looks like maybe over this past weekend, they had actual, I haven't really specified yet. It could be some kind of attack or attack. I think it's being assumed it's called a bin attack, where it's basically they grab a bunch of bank identification numbers and try to run them all at the same time, which could potentially be a good, good's the wrong word, but could potentially be a decent enough thing, because then you potentially wouldn't have any of your specific information stolen. But I don't know to say we know enough to say for sure, but we do have a quote from BILT to take a look at. So let's take a look at this and go through it in case you are affected. So I grabbed this from Reddit. A user posted this who's been talking to them, but it's a quick update from BILT. We have been made aware of global fraud ring that has been launching what are called bin attacks. In short, they use compromised merchants to randomly test millions of potential card numbers to see which ones work, focusing in on card ranges at a time. While many of these card attempts get blocked or often invisible to the customer, occasionally charges make it through. This has been happening across banks, and we are aware of a few Wells Fargo BILT card holders who have been experienced this. They go on to give a phone number. That's an updated phone number I plugged in from the doctor, who said that was a better phone number. Now, overall, this is actually poor timing, because what you might not know behind the scenes is if you've seen a rise in BILT rewards credit card videos coming out because BILT Rewards actually, I think they're making a push to, get folks to sign up for their card. I myself ended up getting an email just, hey, you want to come and, meet us and talk about, joining the referral program. I ended up not doing it. I didn't go for the meeting. It wasn't anything against the card. Honestly, I've already made the video about the card. I didn't want to make it again. And from what I can tell, there was no sign-up bonus. I really don't care for plugging things without a sign-up bonus. But again, I can't say for sure because I didn't actually take the meeting. So, unfortunately, it's just kind of like poor timing for them. So, overall, I still think this is a good card. I think it happens. This is for the official statement. I think we need to amend it. I think it's a lot more than a few cards that are being affected. So much so that if you have a card, whether it's been issued by Wells Fargo or the old Evolve Bank ones, keep an eye on it. By now, they should be on top of it, watching for it. But again, either way, just keep an eye on it because I know we've talked about it here before. I've also seen a lot of other Reddit posts where folks are saying, hey, if you message in, they'll give you like 1,500, 2,500 points, something like that, just for the inconvenience if you were affected. So that's definitely worth keeping in your pocket as well. I can't imagine they're going to fight you on that one at this stage in the game. So, of course, if you are affected, I know we do have some folks who applied for the BILT Rewards. Let us know down below what the process has been, everything as you've gone through it. But we're going to end on a potentially happy note. I'll let you decide. U.S. Bank has updated their landing page, their homepage, and the credit cards under business to announce a coming soon. I don't know why credit cards started doing this coming soon thing, but either way, it's coming soon, and that is the U.S. Bank Business Altitude Connect card. So, my official stance here is I don't make a dedicated card video until the card is actually out for sign-up. So we will have a dedicated video when that happens, but meantime, this is all from their site, so I think it's fair enough to say that this is safe, reliable bet. So here you have it. Altitude Connect, again, this is going to mirror the personal Connect that they have. I don't love the giant Connect written down the side of it. Looks kind of cheap, honestly, but I like the color blue anyways. So annual fee, $95. It's going to mirror the rest of their cards and be waived in year number 1. Multipliers, 5x on hotel and rental cars booked via the Reward Center, 4 back on airfare, hotels, and gas and EV charging, up to $150K a year, 2 back on dining and cell phone services, 1 back on everything else, no foreign transaction fees, priority pass, and then $25 rideshare statement credit with 3 consecutive rides a month. So that's the new card you're looking at. Now, overall, again, it mirrors the personal card basically, but the interesting thing is if you go down on the page a little bit, there is a spot that says you will be able to transfer altitude points from your personal cards to this card, which is kind of part of what people have always been asking for. Now, I don't know that I would assume they're going to make this widespread. You can go back and forth, right? Because the answer is you want them all to get to the Altitude Reserve card if you're big into U.S. Bank. Now, remember, the Cash Plus or Cash Back card doesn't earn altitude points. You're talking about the Altitude Go, the Altitude Connect, Altitude Reserve. Again, the Business Connect, the Triple Cash is a cash back card, and the Leverage is a cashback card as well. So that makes me think 2 things. One, make it finally relenting a little bit and starting to try to make a trifecta, because that would be big, because the Altitude Reserve does give you the 1.5x that the same, like the Sapphire Reserve works. So that could potentially be huge. Number 2, if they're doing that, I could see them coming out with an Altitude Reserve business card as well down the line. At some point, it would make sense to have them mirrored and have the points go back and forth. So we'll really have to see. I think this is why we wait to see when the card comes out, because details like this will come out as far as how does it work, can I go back and forth, that whole thing as they update the rest of the card pages. So overall, I think that's something to keep our eye on. You can join, I guess, a wait list for it. It's going to come out in middle of February, I believe. I don't think they gave an exact date. Again, I don't know why we're doing all these wait lists for credit cards, but I guess it gets us talking about it. So there is that. Good for U.S. Bank. So anyways, guys, that has been the news for this week. If you liked it, of course, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, posting content just like this every week and every day over at profitablecontent.com if you want to keep up with all the latest news and bonus offers. Link down below for you. Go check it out. That's the channel's blog that we have going right now. It's basically like YouTube, but with words. But anyways, guys, let me know what other stories you've seen down below. What's going on this week, if you're affected by BILT, if you're excited for this U.S. Bank changes. Love to get your thoughts on that. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching, and talk to you very soon this week.